Officer Tatum at this point never fails to surprise me with his anti-blackness.
I have more similarities with white people than I do with some black people.
To the point that this Uncle Ruckus sellout raccoon is arguing that he identifies as American before black.
Trying to figure out, Officer Tatum, what the hell is wrong with looking at yourself as black first before you're anything else? Black before you're American. Black before, you're anything else. What's wrong with that?
Okay, because all black people ain't the same. And like, for instance, we all different. So when I say I'm black, what does that mean?
And it must be a general consensus on that sellout side to do so. Because Anton Daniels also refused to identify as black. He said he was a Christian before anything else.
Position you and your people are in.
Who is my people?
Black people. Do you claim black people?
I'm a Christian first. I claim
That if you don't want to say you're a black man first, I think something wrong with
black
that.
is a construct.
Which is just the craziest thing to me, because these people go out of their way to get as far away from the black community as possible.
So I don't wake up out of the womb, and I think about my kids. I'm in a blended family. I'm in a mixed family. Kids don't wake up every morning and be like, I'm black.
But I'm Jew. Welcome to the channel. Please like and share the video. Don't forget to sub. Now, let's get into it.
I'm black first. Before I'm anything, I'm black. My mom and daddy, when they conceived me, the first thing they knew about me, before they knew I was going to be a boy, before they knew if I was going to be a girl, before they knew what sexual orientation and all of religion or any of those things, the first thing they knew about me, he going to be black. And because America has made decisions about black people from its inception, from the founding of this country, made determinations about black people, wrote laws about black people, denied black people their access to the ballot box, denied black people freedom, raped our women, stole us from other lands, and even once given us freedom, has made us fight for every inch of that freedom to maintain it, and continues to fight with us with that. I will not deny those facts.
I really like Gary Chambers. I catch a lot of his clips on X. He always stands on black business, always.
Because those facts still permeate through laws and policies that exist in this country.
There has to be an acknowledgement in your eyes on the other side that those things that you just pointed out are a reality that are inescapable. Before
if we're talking about America, before we talking about black people, we not on the same page.
That's the problem.
No, that is the problem, that you are more committed to America than to your own humanity.
What you mean my humanity?
He doesn't see himself as black.
Dude, I'm an American, you an American.
I'm a human before I'm an American.
Yeah, you can say you're human, but you live.
I'm one of God's children before I'm American. And if you believe in that Bible you say you believe in, are you more God's child or more an American?
I'm more God's child than American.
Or if you're more God.
That man said, I'm a Christian, I'm American, and then I'm black.
If people listen to this, they notice that Gary is living in the past, and I'm talking about us reuniting in the future. Everybody knows what slavery is all about. Now, Gary kind of misled when he said that they stole us off of these places. We were traded into slave trade, imprisoned, enslaved by other black people that then sold us around the world. So that point, we acknowledge that. There are ills that happen in this country, and black people took the brunt of a lot of it.
To say that black people were traded and not kidnapped, abused, and enslaved is crazy work. This man is trying to whitewash slavery like it wasn't one of the greatest human atrocities we've ever known.
We weren't the only ones. So we took a brunt of a lot of it. This country has not always been great to black people. I acknowledge that. Can we understand that? But to act as if we're still living in this perpetual state of racism that has something to do with your everyday life, that we ain't never gonna be able to come together if you believe that, man. If you say you black first, that's crazy. That's like a white man saying, I'm white first.
They are.
But white is the default in America. Therefore, they don't even have to say it if they don't want to. It's just a default setting for America. To see a black person say that, it's just kind of sad for real. Not for us, but for him. That man is lost in the sauce and clearly hates himself.
They wrong then.
America is white first, man.
No, America is not white first.
America considered you property. You were
That's a long time ago, bro.
Sir, let me ask you something. This is where the disconnect comes from for us. When you say
when you got Stephen A. Smith making that face,
they traded black people. If you were traded, would you consider that you were stolen or traded? If it was you, if somebody took you right now and against your will and took you to another country, would you consider that you were traded or would you consider that you were stolen?
if somebody enslaved me
Yes.
and sold me to these white people,
Yes.
I would consider that I was traded.
If somebody took you against your will, put you in handcuffs, enslaved you, you were kidnapped, you were taken against your will, what is he talking about?
By my own people.
Okay. So where you and I differ is a fundamental
history.
understanding that
There's no fundamental, this is historical fact. We were enslaved in Africa and sold through slave trade around the world. Majority of us went to South America.
we did.
United States of America that we know today.
If you would not consider yourself stolen, that's something wrong with your internal compass.
Stolen by who?
Whoever stole you. Whoever
Okay,
stole
by
you to
black
another
and
country.
white people. By black and white people, I was
But
stolen.
I'm trying to figure out, Officer Tatum, what the hell is wrong with looking at yourself as black first before you're anything else, black before you're American, black before you're anything else. What's wrong with that?
Okay, because all black people ain't the same, and like for instance, we all different. So when I say I'm black, what does that mean?
It means you're black. What does all black people being different from different places, having different backgrounds, have to do with you identifying as a black person if you're a black person? We are black first because it's something we were born as. It's something we can't really change. It doesn't matter where we're from, where we live. We are black first.
It's color of my skin.
Can I interject right there?
No. Black people from New York is different than black people from the South. Black people from Africa that came over here as immigrants are very different than African Americans. We're all different. We're diverse like anybody else. When white people say I'm white first, what does that mean?
I would ask that. Forget. I don't want to forget white folks, but I'm like, forget. We're not talking about them at this particular moment. Let's stick with black people in this regard. When you talk about the slave trade, and you said we were enslaved and then traded all over the world. Who were those people?
You know you're tripping when you got Stephen A. Smith out here looking and talking like Malcolm X.
We were enslaved and then traded all over the world. Who were those people? Black people.
Well,
I'm simply saying if you identify with that from an historical perspective, these are my ancestors. This is what we endured. This is where I come from, and that's what I identify with first. Because to some degree, I'm still feeling some remnants of that even in today's society. I'm saying if you identify yourself as black before you identify yourself as American, what you're doing is saying, coming out of the womb, I'm going to be at a disadvantage because I'm in America and I'm going to have to scratch and claw and have an uphill climb. Now, that doesn't mean you give up. That doesn't mean you use it as a crutch.
Stephen A. went even deeper than I went initially. Like, I wasn't even talking about the historical context in America of being black, but everything he's saying is facts. When you are born black in America specifically, you automatically have certain challenges. You automatically have certain disadvantages. And identifying yourself as black has nothing to do with anybody else. To identify yourself as anything other than black first, especially when you're talking about, I'm an American before I'm black, that's just crazy. Like, what are you talking about? You're an American before you're black?
I mean, you give up. That doesn't mean you use it as a crutch. It doesn't mean that you sit up there and use that as a reason to be lackadaisical and have a defeatist attitude and don't work your way and maneuver your way through that terrain in order to get to that point. But it does mean you at least acknowledging that, there are historical, insidious acts that are associated with this particular nation that I live in. And as a result, I recognize the fact that I'm going to have to march forward and it's going to be a uphill climb for me to get to where I'm going. If somebody identifies that with blackness, you can do that.
But Stephen A., that's not always true that every black person have to suffer an uphill climb. That's not true. And we'll go back to like what I said. My ancestors came from Nigeria, so I know that, through my ancestry.com research, that my people came over here as slaves. Not every black person in America came from slavery. It wasn't the case. Not every black person in America migrated here and was in the South. Some of them went to the North and were in indentured service.
Immigrating is completely different than coming over here as slaves. When we talk about black Americans, I'm talking about American descendants of slavery. I don't think anybody who is an American descendant of slavery would identify as anything before black. You're not gonna say I'm an American before I'm black. If anything, I'm a black American. And there's a whole bunch of history and context to go with that. But it's just idiotic to say anything other than I'm black first. I'm not a Christian before I'm black. I'm not a father before I'm black. I'm not a business owner before I'm black. I am black first, and then everything else follows.
And they never were slaves. Some black people came over here and became slave owners and were not slaves themselves. So it's a very dynamic differentiation between the experience of black people in its totality as existing in America. So me saying I'm black first before I'm an American, I think that's a misnomer. I think you're pigeonholing yourself, because if you are going to say I'm black, that means negative.
Why does black mean negative? He is so whitewashed and bought into the anti-black propaganda that a black person would see being black as a negative or use it as a pejorative is crazy work.
Putting yourself at a disadvantage, man. And I say I'm an American first because I believe in American values. My ancestors fought that I can be free in this country. All of our ancestors were not the same, didn't come from the same countries, didn't speak the same languages. We are a diverse people. And we don't need to be looking at a skin color because I don't agree with a lot of stuff black people do. We ain't the same people.
On one hand, he says black people are not a monolith and we're so diverse. And now he's generalizing, saying I'm not black because I don't agree with the stuff that black people do. He's literally contradicting himself and further exposing himself. The reason he's saying he's not black is because he doesn't want the hatred or criticism or negativity that comes from other people about being black. He's saying he's American first and not black because he wants to pat on the head from racists, from other people that don't like us simply because of the color of his skin. So he's just straight up exposing his cowardice. Being black has nothing to do with anybody else. Because you're black, you're gonna be black everywhere you go. And before you open your mouth, people are gonna make judgments and criticisms about you, have opinions about you, simply because of the color of your skin. But you're gonna go out into the world saying, I'm not black, because you wanna gravitate closer to whiteness. You want that proximity to whiteness. And it's not gonna matter at the end of the day, because we've already seen the people that he's tap dancing for give him his Negro wake-up call.
Why debate someone paid by Israel who can't read?
Yeah, it's a shame. Brandon Tatum, he can't read. It's actually sad. I feel sorry for him. I think he's just embarrassed. I don't think he's a bad guy. I just think he feels embarrassed that he can't read. It's got to be so awkward. Imagine you go with Brandon Tatum to a restaurant that he's never been to before and they hand him a menu and he's looking at it and he's like pretending to scan the words. And you're like, so Brandon, what do you think you're going to order? And he's like sweating. I don't know. What you going to order? And you're like, I don't know. I just can't make up my mind. What do you think? I got to go to the bathroom, man. I got to go to the bathroom.
You sagging your pants and gang banging and doing stuff that you're not supposed to do, we ain't the same. If you're doing the right thing and raising your kids and having a family and doing all that stuff, then we are more similar. I have more similarities with white people than I do with some black people.
That was a crazy statement. I have more similarities with white people than I do with black people. That lets you know everything you need to know right there. He pedestalizes white people. He worships white people. He looks at them as correct and right. Meanwhile, he's built a whole entire career off demonizing black people and looking at us as wrong and bad. This is low racial self-esteem right here. This is a person that does not like the color of his skin.
So I don't wake up out of the womb at night and I think about my kids. I'm in a blended family. I'm in a mixed family. Kids don't wake up every morning and be like, I'm black.
Imagine how much low racial self-esteem, self-hating, anti-black you have to be to raise mixed kids as a black man, to not see themselves as black or know their black side or know their black history. And this is how we get biracial kids that end up hating black people, end up hating their own blackness, their own skin, and just gravitate toward whiteness to get as far away from the black community that they have no connection to as possible. That's how you get absolute like this, who hate themselves, who hate any type of blackness that they have in them, who talk about black people like this.
Black does irreparable damage to your brand. It is the female equivalent of a false RAPE accusation. If someone lied about me and started saying that I suck black, I would literally sue them for libel for the amount of damage it does to my branding. And if you're dating a white guy that's not into polycules or whatever, and he finds out that you've been with a black guy, it's over.
Who then put on blackface just to be a pick-me for white conservatives that also don't like black people.
It do be like that, Mr. Stancil.
She is the definition of self-hate because Brittany Vinci is actually mixed. She has a black mother.
The lady to the left of me is even worse because she's a raccoon. I just found out that she has a black mother, so she's basically dissing her own family by doing blackface.
She's the type of person that hates every drop of black blood she has in her.
Black mother gave me a white name because she loved me and actually cared about my future.
Literally, her and her black mother.
Niggas are getting uppity at me for having a black mom and white dad. Saying things like black mom biracials are the worst. Like, I'm sorry I'm not your favorite type of nut. God forbid that my father wanted to actually be in my life.
America is very specific about how it's handled black folks.
I've heard of the one drop rule and I heard of a lot of
Okay, so in a country that has the ability to label whether you 1/8 black, they got a word for it. The Pope would be considered an octoroon. Pope Leo would be considered in America an octoroon. I know this because this is the history of America that we were
Used
so
to.
specific. We have been so specific in this country that there are people who left this state to go other places to play white in order to get away with not having to deal with the issues of what they do to black people.
They used to.
Brother, my mother turns 80. My beautiful mother turns 80 on June 18th. She went to segregated schools in this country.
But she don't know more.
But because she had to fight tooth and nail in order for you and I to be able to sit here having this conversation.
So
and
now you need to move on.
And because the things that my mother fought for, they're attempting to do away with today. So we have to continue to fight every day. And maybe you don't understand that this is a struggle for black people because you identify as American before you identify as black. But I identify as black first. And black people have made America as good as it is today because this moralist, sinful nation would not have come to the promise that it is today if it weren't for black people demanding more of this country.
And it wouldn't be as bad as it is today if it wasn't for some black people cutting up every day.
Watching a black man try to identify as anything but black while constantly demonizing the black community is really sad to watch. On top of that, the fact that he really with his full chest said, I have mixed kids, imagine them calling themselves black, lets you know everything you need to know about Officer Tatum, about how he sees the black community and himself, and why he's one of the most prominent tokens for white supremacists that we see today. But shout out to my channel members. Thank you so much for supporting. Thanks for watching. Y'all let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Also, make sure you check out the next video, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram for behind the scenes and life stuff, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.